Kathryn, before we get started, tell us a little bit about Formstack and why you're in the insurance space.
Sure. Thanks, Dan. Formstack is a secure workplace productivity platform built to produce ingenious solutions to the everyday work that slows organizations down. So from eliminating paper forms to breaking digital silos, Formstack empowers anyone to quickly and easily build custom forms, create documents, and collect e-signatures, all without code. We see great use cases and success with our insurance customers, from collecting information to provide quotes to automate documents. We see a lot of great use cases and a lot of success. It also really saves time for agents. And if you're a small agency, if you're an individual agent, your time is valuable. That's really, one of the most important things to you. So on average, Formstack insurance customers report saving about 14 hours per week using our products. So we feel like we have something really great to help insurance agents focus on customers, spend less time doing tedious, data-driven tasks.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pigeonhole you on that one a little bit, right? Because you're in the insurance market. They love to hold on to paper, right? They love their paper. I mean, we've seen some progress around a digital transformation this past year, but that was because of a pandemic. Obviously, there's no interest in going back. But so you have the NAILBA Brokerage General Agency, and they work with hundreds of independent advisors, right? So they're both holding on to paper applications, you name it. So when the agency, the Broker General Agency, and the advisor are starting to make this transformation, what do they prioritize? In other words, how do you get started, right? It's like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. So which bites first?
Yeah. Well, I think you start by assessing what's most important to your agency, to your business, and focus your digital transformation then by adding automation wherever the greatest impact could be. So for example, if you are dedicated to improving the customer experience, if that is, the broader customer experience, start your digital transformation efforts by digitizing how your customers interact with the business, right? Use digital forms to file the claims rather than the paper, or automate documents to generate customer policies. Then the customers can receive those policies digitally, which is probably where they want to store them anyway, rather than, I don't think file cabinets are, the thing that people are buying anymore. So I think really thinking about how do your customers want to interact with you, and choose those methods to really start digitizing that. And a lot of times our insurance customers are looking for digital signature, right? That's a big one. And making the move to an e-signature solution is a quick win that eliminates paper and that persistent bottleneck of just collecting the wet signature, right? Again, you have a legally binding document that can be stored digitally that you can refer back to. Nobody's going over to their file cabinet, but also customers that's the experience that they have come to expect. So much of our lives are now being done digitally. So just because you're in the insurance agent, you're in insurance, or you're, a B2B customer, like a B2B company, customers don't really see the difference or think, oh, this is B2B, so I should expect paper. No, we need to provide the same type of experience that they expect in all of their transactions.
Okay, so you said something earlier that I want to hit on, because many of the NAILBA member agencies are principals, senior leadership, right? Not the tech people, not the people in the trenches. And of course, same thing for independent advisors. They are running their own office. You said no code. Now, I've done some programming. I know what that means, but what is your definition of no code? And what's the impact of no code on insurance providers? Because it's all one big process. But if a principal of an agency walks into his or her IT department and said, new solution, we're going to Formstack, no code, the IT person can be like, what do you mean no code?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So no code is a type of software development that allows anyone to create digital applications without writing code. So it gives agents and agencies, principals to go from an idea to workflow in minutes, all on their own without help from IT. You're not writing code. You're just using drag and drop editors. You're just using logic to build out the workflows that you're trying to create. So let's say just to create an initial quote for a customer, you need to collect just general stuff: name, date of birth, address, driver's license number. So currently you might collect that information verbally over the phone, or if you are meeting, having an in-person meeting, and then you have to write it down, then get it transcribed into your system of record to create the quote. With a no-code solution, you could just create a form. Then you're doing that one time, you're creating one form for all of your customers, and then they, on their own time, in their own way, can go in, fill out the form, and then you get the data, assuming that they put the right data in. Then
Sure.
You're collecting the data, reducing the error there, and there is no IT doesn't need to be involved. And I'm, as a marketer, not having IT involved is important to me. So I would assume I can see how that might be important to insurance agents, the principals as well. If they can enable their agents, they can enable people to move faster, to service customers better, and not involve IT. That's better for everyone. And actually, it's also better for IT. IT doesn't want to be creating forms. They want to be creating systems. They want to be creating, more
secure networks.
Yeah, absolutely. More high, in their mind, right? High value, doing more high value work rather than for them just creating these forms. I mean, that's really just more of a tedious task for them.
Yeah. So doing some research on Formstack, and actually, let me back up. I mean, not every advisor or broker general agency is completely just stuck holding papers and using phones with cords on them, right?
Yeah.
They have started that digital transformation. They've started automating some of their agency software. But in looking at Formstack, I came across Applied Epic. I figured I'd just save that question for you. What is Applied Epic?
So Applied Epic is their agency software, where they are using that to really be able to manage all of their customers, collect their customer data, and really using it as more of a system of record specifically for insurance and for what the customer data that they're needing to manage their contracts, their quotes, and all their policies.
So let's go back on that then. So Formstack is obviously making that much more efficient for advisors and agencies. Why? I mean, other than the obvious, right? I mean, why should they consider Formstack? If they're already starting that digital transformation, and let's say they have a good department, they have a good system, and they just found out about Formstack, hopefully through NAILBA, and you say, all right, you've been doing 2-3 years of these changes.
Yep.
How does Formstack apply to that situation?
Yeah, so I think where we can help automate these tedious processes like data collection, like document generation and e-signature. But one of the other really key values we bring to the business is we integrate with tools that agencies already have. Okay. So the integration is key, right? We're not asking you to rip and replace any software. We're not proposing that you should use us instead of someone else. We're proposing you use us with the tech that you currently use to increase the customer experience, your secure data offering, to increase accuracy of data. So that, I think, is a real value for us, is we are integrating with the tools you use every day to help improve the customer experience and your back-end processes. Okay,
so let's apply that to modern day, hopefully right now, post-pandemic, right? Still coming out of it, but during the pandemic, many advisors and their customers were getting used to virtual. I don't think virtual is going away. I think there's still going to be a serious need for in-person meetings, but also not in-person meetings, so virtual. So how does Formstack assist with this? How do they personalize without an in-person meeting?
Yeah, so I think, there's a few ways that we can do that. By one, digitizing some of the data collection, digitizing some of these processes allows customers to do things on their own time, right? Whenever is convenient for them. If they work all day, they can do it in the evening, so I think that supports that. It also supports ongoing, back and forth through the ability to create documents, get feedback on those documents, and have back and forth without having to have a phone call, set a meeting every time you need to discuss the quote or the proposal or whatever that is. And then I also think through automation, it also saves time for everyone, but you can still inject your personal brand, personality into that stuff. And I think that's critical, because while people do want to embrace technology to get things done faster and more efficiently, at the same time, I mean, I don't think we all really want to just be working with robots, so to speak, all the time. So I think also to create that, that personal touch by injecting some personality into those interactions, I think is important as well.
Well, these are all the phrases that, agencies and advisors are hearing, right? Chatbots, AI, digital distribution platforms. But, the biggest buzzword of the industry that came to fruition was disruption, right? We always use that at every junket we would go to. And now there has been significant disruption over the past few years. So just take off your I know you're obviously a senior VP for Formstack, but just take off that hat and just put more, thought leadership hat. I mean, providers need to embrace technology. I mean, especially if they want to compete in this evolving industry. Just give me your thoughts when you hear that. Like, where do you fall about that? Where does Formstack fall about that? Because it's if you look at the advisor, they're not waking up to sell insurance that day. It may be the second or third or fourth priority, and they're just inundated with different buzzwords and technology words. So how are we embracing technology?
Yeah, so I think as a marketer, I love all the buzzwords. So very, very familiar
So let's not boil the ocean today.
Right. Very familiar with disruption. I think that's been a marketing word for years now.
Yeah, until the pandemic hits, right?
Yeah. So I think one of the things for independent agencies and advisors is you have a real opportunity to use technology to create a better experience that larger organizations can provide through expensive technology.
Yeah.
And if you just select 2 or 3 that are really going to impact the business that you can execute well, I think then you provide a better customer experience, but you still have like your personal touch. And I think because providing the personal experience is, in my opinion, what people really want. They want to use technology, but they still want to feel like they're having, especially in this, when you're giving personal information and it's about you and, it's about your life and taking care of your family. People do want to feel that there is a personal customized approach to that, but to really do that, they do still expect to do that through technology. As we've said for years, right? Amazon's ruined that for all of us in the just tap and it's at your door and whatever, whatever.
But you're spot on there, right? I mean, yes, we all want to be efficient and use technology, but the option to personalize within any no-code software or third party is super important, right? I mean, it's the personalization that makes a difference, especially as it relates to technology. At least make me believe that it's being personalized. I don't care if you're inserting name
right.
and changing the name.
Absolutely. And I think using software to automate some of that can help you with some of the more repeatable things like renewal or important milestone dates that you might need to have a meeting reminder, to meet with your agent or meet with somebody, or birthday wishes or things like that. So those things that are going to be repeatable, that's a great way to automate and still use personalization, but then it's those really high value, high touch experiences that then you can focus on to create the custom experience there, right? And very marketing buzzword, I will say, the difference between personalization and customization, right? Just that idea. I mean, just as you said, putting your name on something, okay, that's personal, but it's not custom, right? So that's a nuance. Probably.
Okay, so I got one more for you, and I love where this conversation's going because I geek out on this stuff. We were just discussing offline about just how many organizations have pivoted to virtual. Obviously, some agencies, some advisors will never go back to an office. In some wonderful cases, those leases have been they're no longer in play. So as they opt to remain remote, advisors, agencies, how can insurers continue to provide that client experience? You actually just said that in the previous answer about client experience. So maintaining their remote status, keeping the client experience under the digital umbrella, digital model.
Yeah, at Formstack, that's something that we think and talk about a lot. We have been a remote first company since 2012. We intentionally at that time made a decision to think more broadly and hire remotely. I mean, we do have I'm in an office right now. I mean, we do have some physical built, office space as well, but we are remote first. Excuse me, over 60% of our company is remote. So we have a lot of experience in, building relationships across teams and with vendors. So this is something we think about a lot. And I think that the key is, what do people want automated and not think about? Because to some degree, some of your, digital experiences, people don't really want to notice it unless it's bad. Like, right. So you just want to kind of offer like just straightforward, efficient. So think about that. What just needs to be good enough to like make it efficient, get what you need done. And then what is the thing that you need to really focus on that is going to delight the customer and have an impact on your business, and then make the optimizations there. So if it's finding a way to speed up customer response time, again, talking about Amazon getting it immediately, that's something that we need to think about. And even as as a small agency, as an advisor, we need to be able to meet those customer expectations and customer response times, because every minute, every hour that you aren't responding, they could be finding a competitor, right? They could be finding another way to solve their problem. So I think it's really important to think through, what is the customer expectation? What needs to be custom, personalized, and just efficient? And
that's a great point, because think about it. We all do it. We all shop on Amazon or some other online option where it's roughly 3 clicks, we're in and we're out. So then when it comes to running our office, running our business, or applying for our own insurance needs or financial security, you're not expecting to be there for 30, 40, 50 minutes with 100 plus clicks and different forms and sign this paper and scan it and send it back. It's tongue in cheek, we did make a lot of progress during the pandemic and gain momentum to pivot in a way that we haven't had to in the past. And there's an opportunity to automate, or if I'm really being cheesy here, I will quote the Formstack. Is it reimagining the workplace, right?
Reimagine your world of work.
There it is.
That's right.
So I'm not even working for Formstack, and I'm quoting the company taglines. Kathryn, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us know more about Formstack. Thank you for being a supporter of NAILBA and all of independent distribution. And we do look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.